Well, hello everybody again. John BTV Digger here for my next hunt or two. Thanks for joining me. It's about middle May 2017, and this next hunt you'll see is actually two hunts. I hit a couple cellar holes, actually about 3 cellar holes, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and then I got out with my buddy Pistol Pete about a week ago in some old cornfields that I got permission for. That had a lot of old history here in the Champlain Valley of Vermont. So come along and join me here. I'll take you on a ride and we'll find some relics together. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, here we are at our first cellar hole of the day. You can see it back here and all that brushy undergrowth. Some sort of ornamental plant used to be planted here at the cellar hole, and it's totally taken over the whole place. But there's some swinging areas here and there, and I've been here about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Haven't pulled too much out. I've been here several times before, but you always find goodies at these old places. Here's the first decent find, guys. It's an old reed to a pump music box or a pipe organ kind of thing, kind of like an accordion or one of those handheld music boxes. You may have seen me dig a few of these before. They'll have the note on the back here, B flat, B sharp, G, E, F, whatever. And these were, you know, by the multitudes in the music box when they played them. Very popular back 120 years ago or so, if not even into the 1800s. So nice little find. I'll brush that off with some Brillo and see if we can get a note off of that. But let's see if we can get some more stuff, guys. That's a nice little start to the day. On to the next. Okay, here we are at our next find after that little music box reed. Right on the top of this flat rock. It was only about an inch under the surface, so I thought it might have been some modern trash. There's a bike trail right by this cellar hole here too. But here we go, little flat button, and it's got a little shank on it. Let me see if I can show that for you there. Get that to focus. Very tiny, like a little cuff button. No, that's plain. Doesn't have any markings on it, so it's not military or anything like that. But early to mid 1800s, so I should be able to get a back mark off of that, and I will show that to you in the wrap up after I tumble it and clean it up. Okay, let's see if we can find a few more things, guys. On to the next find. Okay, at about 10 minutes after that little flat button, right at the base of this tree here, and underneath this really thick root right here, probably why nobody ever dug it, I got me a piece of an old escutcheon piece. Found a few of those through the years. This one's obviously broken. I'm not sure exactly what the full piece would have looked like. I'd have to clean that up and everything, but I always take those, a escutcheon piece from the front of an old dresser or something like that, or a wardrobe. Very cool. I'll take it. Very old, 150 to 200 years old for sure, especially for the date of this site. This was on the 1857 map, but gone by 1871, I think, on the Beers map. So very nice. Let's see if we can find a few more things. It's very quiet in here, very typical of old sites. I've got several other sites I'll try to hit before I take out of here. All right, on to the next. All right, here we are at the next find, guys. I went down to another cellar hole that dates from really early, but it wasn't habited to about the turn of the century, so a little bit later than the earlier cellar hole I was at, where I found some of those other first things. So you may find some more modern trash here, but I'm right on the edge of this creek bed, over the edge behind the barn, and I got a screaming signal about 4 or 5 inches. And check this out, I have never found one like this. It's a harmonica reed, but look what it is, guys. The entire freaking harmonica. Almost, really. That is sweet. It's got both sides to the reed. One reed there and the other reed there. So I may be able to get some sort of a maker's mark or something off of that. That's a killer find. The wood is still intact in there. And it wasn't that deep, so that's really surprising. But, man, over 100 years old for sure. Old harmonica reed sitting in the woods here by the creek. I will take that any day. All right, let's see if we can find some else. something else here at this site. Great. All right, mosey down to another older cellar hole. Again, this is an older one. This is my third site of the day. Gone by 1875, only on the 1850s map, and there's no trail to it. So I'm encouraged. I dug an iron ring to start, which is a screaming target. Nobody should have not dug that, because it was, even though it's Bazinga, most detectors would have showed that really as a high target to dig. And then right next to it was another high target, and check this out. This is unique, man. Full dinner knife, and it's still got the wooden handle on it. That is sweet. I found a couple of those through the years, and I think it was hitting on the little brass piece right here, because I think this is made out of iron. You can still see the nubbins there where the other part of the wood would attach. What an awesome find. I don't know if I'll do electrolysis on that or what. I may just let it dry completely out and just do a very light brushing to it, but who knows. Usually you find the old spoons, not the complete old knives, but that is a nice find. All right, maybe there's something better here, guys. I'm encouraged by this site. Maybe we got a coin or a bell or buckle or two in around here. All right, on to the next find. Well, here we are, folks, Sunday afternoon, April 30th, with my friend Pistol Pete, hitting some old cornfields, and we may hit a few cellar holes. We've dug a few flat buttons. Pete just dug a nice Civil War, Indian Wars General Service button, and then a dandy, and in between that, literally within 3 minutes, we've dug these 3 buttons, and I've got it right here, and folks, I think it's a pretty decent one. Let me wipe it off. It's a little cuff button, but you know what? I think that's another General Service Civil War Indian Wars button. Mid to late 1800s. That is sweet. Yep, it absolutely is. It's a little corroded. But I'll get a cleaned up shot for you and come back with you. Excellent find. All right, see if we can find some more good stuff here, guys. On to the next. Okay, here's our next find after that eagle button, folks. And this is another good one. I'm encouraged about some of these fields. Look at this. Another little old thimble. And another surprising one. Usually in these fields, these thimbles are smashed. But that one's going to clean up really nice. It's one of those open top ones. Some of the older styles weren't closed at the top and had the open top there. It's kind of little stubby ones. So that's kind of interesting. But I will take that and I'll get it cleaned up for you, and I'll show you another shot here in just a few minutes. All right, on to the next. Let's see if we can find something else, guys. And here we go to our next find, folks. Another simple one here, but I got myself another flat button right there in that hole right there, right next to my shovel. And this one looks like a plain Jane, I'll be honest with you. It's got a little shank on the back there, but nothing crazy. Yep, so I'll take it. Another flat button from 150 years ago. Let's see if there's a few more things here, guys, before I head out of here. It's starting to rain here a little bit, and I may not last much longer in the fields here. A little cold and windy today. But I'll take it. And about 5 minutes after that next button, folks, I got another button. And right next to this piece of old pottery. I love finding this old pottery in the fields. I keep some of it, a lot of it I'll just toss back. You can't keep it all. I'll show you in the wrap-up. I found a couple bottle tops, blow top bottles. They're cracked, and it's just the top of them, but I find that cool too. But here's my next find, and this one's got a shank on it, so I may be able to get a maker's mark off the back of that. These old farm fields where the old house sites are in, man, there are buttons everywhere. You can find them certainly quite often. So that's a nice find. All right, let's see if we can find a few other things, guys. On to the next. And another button lies in wait. Here we go, guys. About another 20 minutes or so after that last button. This one does not have a shank on it. That's a nice smoothie. No design, plain Jane. I'll get a maker's mark out of it, though. All right, on to the next. Well, there's my little Toyota Camry down there. I'm here at my next find. I thought I'd just interject real quick. I met a guy pulled up in his pickup truck just a little bit ago, and he's been detecting these fields for about 20 years. The farmer that gave me permission, really nice guy. He told me another guy had hit it. Really nice guy named Don. He comes by here every now and then. Hasn't done it in a little while, and there's always stuff to be found out here, but he says he and his buddy have pulled tons of large scents and barbers and Indians out of here, so they probably picked it pretty clean. But as you can see, there's still a few goodies to be found. And here's my next find, and this is a nice little one. You always like finding these. A little round musket ball from the early to mid 1800s, probably. I mean, there were homes here probably back in the late 1700s, but anyway, always take a little good lead, make your day there. Round musket ball. All right. See if we can find a few other things, guys. On to the next. All right, everybody. We're back inside for the green velvet wrap-up. Again, if you remember, these were 2 hunts, as I said in the intro, one the last couple days or last day of April there, and then one about a week ago, the first week of May, when I got out into those cornfields with my buddy of mine, Pistol Pete. And we found a few good things there as well. Let me go ahead and start with the wrap-up. And first, for the stuff that I didn't get on tape, you remember in the fields I had mentioned that I'd pick up some of these old decorative glass bottle pieces or pottery pieces. I always love picking these up. Again, these are applied top bottles for the most part before the advent of the screw top. So these are mid to late 1800s. So I always pick up a few of those. And I don't know, I put them in a big glass jar and just makes it all nice and pretty. And I pick up some of this stoneware stuff as well if I find some decent pieces. So that's always cool. What else did I find that I don't have on tape here? Oh, here we go, a buckle. Find about 2 or 3 of those every hunt, I think, every time I go out. Let's see. Oh, here's an interesting item. If I find like on some of those old shotgun shells, the old head stamps that were the old paper variety, where it's just the brass insert, I always like keeping those and looking up the dates. And you can go online and find these. And this one says Western number 16 Super X, and this was 1927 through 1934 or something like that, Depression era. So I'll always keep some of those cool old head stamps. And then I found this interesting item that I didn't get on tape. This says, I believe, New York Button Company, model something one another. I think it's a turn piece for a lantern wick that went to a lantern, so it'd be on the side there and you turn it. At least that's, I guess, what I think it is. And then my bazinga for the day that I didn't get on tape, this metal probably piece that went to a bike. This was right by a bike trail, so this came off some BMX trail bike or something. Man, I thought that was going to be something good. Rang up like 80, about 6 inches down. All right, on to some of the better finds. I did find several buttons, a couple at the cellar holes, and then more in the fields. Again, those are variety, mostly plain Janes. I did get a tomback. Those are nice and old, late 1700s to early 1800s. But most of these, any of these one-piece back shanks, see that one's got some silver gilt still on it, are generally early to mid 1800s. And then the best button by far was this General Service Eagle cuff button. I know it's hard to see, but I did show you a close-up. Very tiny. I've never seen one that small, but it is a one piece with no maker's mark, so early. And the houses were gone in that field before 1870. So this was a Civil War soldier's button, and I have yet to go back on the map and cross-reference and see if I can find a name and a soldier, a Vermont soldier that served in one of the Vermont regiments. That would be cool to eventually find. Let's see what else I got. Oh, I got my escutcheon piece at one of those earlier cellar holes. And at first I thought that was broken, but after a little tumble in the rock tumbler to clean her up, that is actually a full piece, so that's sweet. Nice old escutcheon piece and unbent, so I like to find those. I got my music reed, C sharp, very common find, went to the old music boxes. And then some of the other finds over here on the lower left, open top thimble. Never found one like that, and surprising to find them unsmashed in a cornfield that gets plowed for 200 years. But this is an older style, folks. Early to mid-1800s for sure. Really sweet find, and I still haven't picked all the dirt out of there. I'm not sure if I want to tumble that or not. It's pretty fragile, so I may just keep it the way it is. And then I got my 2 other little interesting items at some of those later cellar holes, an almost entire harmonica reed. That one's really cool. I've never found one with the wood still intact like that. It's very fragile. It's almost falling apart. And the brass, covering that would have the maker on it is also gone. So I'll never get anything off of that, but I'm just letting it dry out, and I toothpick some of the dirt out of there, and that's all I'm going to do with it, really. I'm not sure exactly what how I'll display that, or just keep that on its side. And I've also never found a complete knife. I found broken ones before. This one still got the wood handle and the nubbins in it. It did ring up a little bit high, and I got that high little squeak on the F2, and it was this brass piece right here that it was hitting on. So very interesting. Do I do electrolysis on that or not? I am not sure. But anyway, I appreciate you joining me. Those are my finds over the last week and a half to 2 weeks. I'll be out here again soon. The weather's getting nicer here in Vermont, and I'll have more opportunities to hit the woods and some of the fields so they haven't grown up too high by now. So until next time, this is BTV Digger, and always remember, get out there and dig it up. It's waiting for you to find.